reading.
House Bill 173 is now before the body. It seeks to amend and reenact sections of the Code of Virginia relating to manufacture, import, sale, transfer, or possession of plastic firearms and unfinished frames or receivers and unserialized firearms prohibited. Penalties. Legislation Report Committee on Public Safety with Amendment Nature Substitute. Substitute reported from Committee on Appropriations.
Delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Simon.
Mr. Speaker, I move the committee substitute.
Shall the substitute be agreed to? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to.
Mr. Speaker, members of the House, this bill is the prohibition on ghost guns in Virginia. And real quickly, what the problem this is trying to solve is folks that will go online or go to a gun show and purchase an unfinished frame or receiver. So for those of you that aren't familiar, the frame or the receiver is the bottom part of the gun, and that's the part that gets the serial number, and that's the part that is considered a firearm by the ATF, FBI, the folks that regulate firearms. And the way these kits work is you buy it, it's made of polymer, right? It's essentially plastic, and it's polymer, and it comes ready to assemble with 2 tabs on either side that you can file down with enough time and energy, and then you bore a hole for the barrel to go into, and it sits right there in that. And you've got now, with the kit, a fully ready to go Glock 9mm style pistol, and it's got no serial number. There's no way to know who's bought it. I was able to purchase one without providing any kind of identification. And they are, in fact, used and have been used by young people, too young to purchase a firearm. And they were used in Fairfax County a few years ago, and a murder was committed using one of these firearms that these young people were able to purchase because it bypasses all of the safety protocols that we put in to our law as far as background checks are concerned, ID checks, and so forth. This bill does a lot to answer some questions that folks have had about this bill in the past. First of all, it's got a 6-month delayed enactment date to allow people that might already own a firearm that was purchased this way and built this way. Say they're a hobbyist, they bought a kit, they put the firearm together, and they enjoy using it. They can go now during that 6-month period to a FFL, and they can have the gun serialized, right? So we're not taking away anything from anybody that they may have legally purchased at the time that was legal. You can go, you can get a serial number. We have very detailed instructions for how that serial number is to be done and put on there. If you don't want it anymore, you don't want to go to the trouble of serializing it, you can go ahead and take it to an authorized gun buyback program, turn it over to them. They will take it, give you money for it if that's what you want. We put in some things to folks that have older firearms, right? Not antiques, but older firearms prior to 1968 that never had a serial number are exempted from this bill. All right, that's not as far as some of the advocates would have liked me to go, but I thought it seemed fair. You wouldn't have to, somebody described it as defacing your firearm by etching a serial number onto it. So that's fine, it doesn't apply to that. It really is supposed to be forward-looking to these kinds of weapons that did not exist in the 18th century, right? So there's no analogous statute to look back to from the 1700s about polymer guns and how we would regulate the manufacture of polymer weapons because they didn't exist in the 18th century. So I know the Bruin question is on a lot of people's minds. I don't think that affects this piece of legislation. So, Mr. Speaker, members of the House, this is a straightforward bill to make sure that we don't allow young people, people with criminal convictions, people with mental health issues that would prevent them from otherwise purchasing a firearm from skirting those rules, buying an almost all ready-to-go kit to build the gun themselves and using it to do harm to those that wouldn't. So this helps keep firearms out of the people that shouldn't have them. It will be the pleasure of the body to engross the bill and pass it to its 3rd reading.
Shall the bill be engrossed and passed on to its 3rd reading? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The bill is engrossed and passed to its 3rd